Miss Diane, and today we're going to be talking about something to really cheer you up. And I'd like to start by just showing you a little quote here. And as you can see, it says, "When life gives you lemons." And what life gives you lemons is basically a way of telling people that when something's going on in your life, we should always try to make the best of it and make it a positive day. And usually life gives you lemons is followed by the phrase, make lemonade, okay? But I was thinking about being positive and thinking about lemons and how the color yellow usually makes us feel better and just brightens the environment for us. So I was thinking, for me, when life gives me lemons, let's make a flower arrangement with a lot of yellow in it. So right here in this vase, and I think most of you know that I enjoy using vases for all different kinds of things. And here I'm using the vase to hold some lemons and limes. We're going to be using the color yellow mainly today, but I have the limes here because we do have some beautiful containers that come in a lime color. So let's just put our lime in there. And the flowers that we're going to be working with today, our materials today are all fresh, real flowers. We're not using anything that's dry or anything that's artificial. And I'm just going to point those out to you right now. One of the flowers that we'll be using today are roses, but these are not just regular roses. These are miniature roses, and again, we're using yellow because that's our theme for today. And the way these roses grow, there's the main stem, and then there are a few different roses that come off of the main stem. So these are called spray roses. And people like them because they're very delicate. And just look at that beautiful, beautiful, vivid yellow. They're really beautiful. So then the other flower we'll be working with today is a rose, and I'm sure you recognize this. This is a beautiful yellow rose. It's in a great stage of opening. Wow, it's gorgeous. And we'll also be using yellow. These are daisy pom-poms, and we love these because when you look at them, it kind of looks like they're just smiling at you. And they also last a long time. They're not expensive, and they're easy to work with. And last but not least, we have a beautiful flower. This is called solidago. And it's very nice to be used going in between our other flowers, and that's called a filler. So this is a filler flower, solidago. And as always, our gypsophilia, commonly known as baby's breath. This is another beautiful way to fill up an arrangement. So in order to make something in a container, and the container we're going to be using, what else? A happy face to make us all feel happy, okay? So in order to make flowers stay in this container, we need to put something in that will anchor the flowers in place. And what we use to do that is this product, which is called Floral Foam. And Floral Foam is basically like a sponge. And what's great about it is you could cut it to fit whatever container you're working with. Now, whenever you use flower foam, it's very important that after you use it, you wash your hands, because little particles of it can flake off, and you wouldn't want to, especially now, we're not touching our faces, but we wouldn't want to get any of it in our eyes, and you don't even really want it brushing off on your clothing. So this is our flower foam, and I am going to cut it to the size that I need, and because I can be a little clumsy, I'm not using a sharp knife. I'm actually using a butter knife from the 99-cent store, which is a very good tool to use when you're trying to work with flower foam. And I'm holding it to go into the container, and I'm pushing down gently on it because I want to know what size I need. And then I'm going to shorten it, but leave about 1 inch at the top, so it'll give me room to put flowers in that way, okay? And even like this, okay, look at this. You can turn this upside down, and this little baby is going nowhere. But now, this is only good for flower arranging if it's moist, if it's wet. So what we're going to do is take the brick and take it out, and you can see it's got tiny little holes on the bottom, and that's how it absorbs the water. And I have here a little tub of water, and I'm going to take my flower foam and I'm going to submerge it in the water. But you don't even have to hold it down, because when you have the holes going down, it will start to absorb the water. And when you see the flower foam has gone to the bottom of the container, you know that it's fully soaked. So I'm just going to come a little closer to the screen to show you this. Oops, a little messy. Okay, so our foam is in there. And I've prepped a piece over here that's already soaked so that we use our time wisely. So this is a piece of flower foam. It feels really heavy. The difference between when it's not wet and wet is considerable. This is light, and this one, I really can't juggle it like that. So now I'm going to take it and insert it into my container, and I'm going to press down like that to make sure that it's in there really, really well. And then I'm going to do this, right? Now water's leaking out, and that's okay. All right, so now my container is prepped. So let me get a little paper towel to wipe this up over here. Okay. All righty. So whenever we're prepping a container to make an arrangement in it, we want to make sure that the floral foam is covered. We don't want people sitting at a table and when they look at this, seeing this piece of foam. We want them to see flowers all the time. So in order to cover this up, we're going to be using a green. This particular one is called leather leaf. And what I'm going to be doing is breaking off little pieces. And whenever I can, I do like using my fingers to cut things. And going along the base of the container, you start to insert these little leaves in on an angle, like this. And as we go around, we will be eventually covering up the whole piece of flower foam. Sometimes when we're doing this and we've covered the foam without even putting a single stem of flowers, I look at it and I say to myself, that's really pretty. So now I've done the lower part, and now, continuing, I'm going to be taking some other pieces and have them pointing up a little bit. And the reason you start to have them pointing up is this starts to create a very nice kind of depth in the flower arrangement. And it also makes it look a little bigger this way. And even though we don't really need this to look so big, we want the spaces in between to have something very nice in it. And greens are very, very pretty. They remind us, really, they connect us to nature, because if you just go out to a park, and even if they haven't done any spring planting yet, and you see some nice greens growing, it always serves a purpose. Around the holiday time, I don't know, you might remember that we used a lot of evergreens that some of us might call Christmas greens or winter greens, and we use those to make a lot of things. So now I have my happy face container. I have it all prepped, and after I have the base covered, I'm ready to start putting flowers in. And I'll be using a clipper today. Okay, I like one that's not too heavy, and you always have to be careful when you're working with a clipper. So whenever we make an arrangement, we always start with the flower that's called the focal point. And in this arrangement, probably the most special flower that's in here, that when somebody looks at this, I want them to say is, in my beautiful centerpiece, I got a beautiful rose. So I'm going to take this beautiful rose and I'm going to cut it, and we always cut on an angle so that the surface area of the flower is open so that it'll drip better. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it into my happy face mug. That. Let's cut a few more here. there. And you don't have to be too much follow the rule with the way you do this. Once you have the focal point flowers in and you establish the size of the arrangement, at this point, just fill in the way you'd like to, whatever you think looks good. As I always say, think outside the box and have fun. And when you're all done, because you're working with something so beautiful, it's going to look great no matter how you put them in. But you have to make sure when you insert your flowers in the foam that you start off with a nice strong jab. You don't want to put the flowers, of course, is our baby's breath, which is down here now. Here's our baby's breath, or our gypsophilia. Pop. And one of the things that will make an arrangement pop is when you use different textures. And that's why I like the rose, because it kind of has that velvety look to it. And then we have our pom-poms in there too, which are a very different texture than the rose. And then our fillers are very kind of airy and whimsical looking. But another thing that we use that really makes things pop is a flower that's great to work with because it will dry naturally. And I'm going to come to my refrigerator to get some of that. Okay. And this is a great flower for creating contrast. This is called Status. And I'm going to put just a few pieces of it. Do you see the difference when you have just the colors that blend nicely together? And then you just do a pop of this. Isn't that something, how we've taken it from all one color into this beautiful blend? And, you know, because I love to use things that are real and are special, is that okay? Because I love to do things that are real and special, I'm thinking, you know what? Whoever gets this, and we really want to cheer them up, and we want them to realize how happy and creative we can be, I think we should put a lemon and a lime in our container. Now, when you look at a lemon and a lime, you're looking at them, right? And these are real, and they're pretty heavy. But if we want to get them in here for fun, how am I going to do that? Am I going to put tape around it and try to tape it in there? Oh, no, we're not doing that. We're going to use sticks, okay? So just let me get a few sticks. Okay, so I have these wooden sticks, and you don't have to have an official wooden stick. You could get some kind of twig from the park or something. And I'm going to take the bottom, the pointy part of the stick, and jab it into the lime. So there it is. I have a lime on a stick, and I'm going to put it in our happy face arrangement like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the lemon. And one of the things that's so nice about this, it wasn't hard to get that in, is that both the lemon and the lime add a beautiful fragrance to this arrangement. So when people are sitting around the table and they're looking at this, while maybe they're having a really nice breakfast or a lunch and a dinner, they're going to get the slight fragrance of the lemon and the lime, and it's going to make it a really, really nice experience. So here we have our When Life Gave Us Lemons. And right now, we got a lemony situation going on, but we're going to stay positive. We're going to think about cheering other people up whatever way we can, whether it's you FaceTiming somebody in your family, or maybe sending somebody a note and sending it through the mail. These are all things that we're going to do to lift people's spirits. And I hope today that I've lifted yours a little bit, and I look forward to making more beautiful things with you. So stay well. When I say flower, you say power. Flower power.